Hey guys, Divyanka here from Our Journey at Home. So today in this video we are going to discuss a couple of reasons for why kids struggle in writing and why some kids are not interested in doing any kind of writing work. So I have received many complaints from moms that have said that my child is very smart, loves to do maths problems, loves to explore hands-on activities, but they are not at all interested in writing, and whenever we sit down for any kind of writing work they just run away. So if this is a problem that even you are facing right now with your little one, so stay tuned. So first we will discuss a couple of reasons why they are not interested and why they are struggling when doing the writing work, and after that I'll give you a couple of tips and activity ideas to help them get interested in the writing work as well as start doing it seriously. Okay, so see, the struggle happens between the age group 3 to 4 and 4 to 5. Okay, so we can say that the children who go into nursery or even junior KG or KG1 as they call it in some states, so when they go to that grade, suddenly writing is introduced and it becomes kind of a chore for them. So there are some pointers that we have to keep in mind to first understand why the child is hating writing or why the child is not showing any interest in writing, and after that we can delve into some activities. So I have my cheat sheet here so I don't forget to share any pointers with you. So let's start with the first reason. So the first reason is that underdeveloped fine motor skills. Okay, so what are fine motor skills? Fine motor skills meaning the skills or the activities that help us or the child develop their muscles in their hand, wrist and fingers. Okay, so when there is a good muscle power in our hands, wrist and finger, at that time there is no struggle in writing. Okay, so writing takes a lot of pressure on your wrist and the fingers. Okay, so it takes a lot of pressure, and for the child to handle that kind of pressure, he or she must have developed good fine motor skills. So we are going to see a couple of activities for those, but let's first address the reasons. The reason number 2 is cramped grip, which leads to pain and sore hand. So cramped grip means that the child is like cramping their hand, something like this, with very much pressure in this portion of their hand, so which is the wrist and the fingers. So when they're holding any kind of writing implement, so for example I have a pencil here, so if they're holding the writing implement like very tightly and they are giving too much pressure, that will help in cramping of their wrist and finger, and it will ultimately affect their muscles. Okay, so this will sorry lost of words. So this what will this make is they will have pain in their hands, and then they might also have soring in their hands. Okay, the third reason is not done enough of visual perceptual activities and spatial awareness activities. So what is visual perception? So basically we are training our bilateral coordination, that is the eyes and the hands, to visually see and locate the spacing between two letters or two words. Okay, so if you have not done the visual perception activities with your little one, the child may struggle to understand how to distinguish between two letters, or sometimes he or she may also write the whole complete 2 or 3 words in one go. Okay, so there's no correct spacing in the words. And spatial awareness activities again depends on spacing and visually representing where each word belongs in a given line. Okay, then the fourth reason here we have is not good posture and paper and body position. So if I have a paper here and I'm writing, and if I don't have the correct posture of sitting properly on a chair and a table, then if I'm like cramping my shoulders and not sitting up straight and correctly writing, and also the paper and the body position. Okay, so I may sometimes, if you find children like they are writing like this, it's a wrong position to sit in while writing. Okay, so ideally the paper should be in front of us, and the neck should not like fall down like this. The neck should hold straight and just look down with your eyes. Okay, so that is the correct position for writing. So these are the main 4 reasons, and these are the underlining reasons, and not necessarily that the child is acting smart or making you foolish. It's not that. In fact, these are the underlining reasons which are troubling the child to not take interest in the writing activity. Okay, so if you want to check with your child, just go through all these 4 pointers that we have and see that these pointers are taken care of and they are corrected, and after that we will take a look on how to develop the interest. Okay, so quickly a quick recap for the 4 pointers. First is underdeveloped fine motor skills. Second is cramped grip, which results in pain. The third is not doing enough of visual perceptual activities and spatial awareness activities. And the fourth is not correct posture and the paper and body position while writing. Okay, so now let's tackle how to develop interest and what activities will help to develop interest. Okay, so I have 3 main pointers for this, and after that I'll give you 2 pro tips. Okay, so the first is encourage in correct posture, pencil grip and paper body position. Okay, so in correct posture, that means you have to sit on a chair and a table which is actually the height of the child, and which helps the child to keep their feet straight on the floor. Okay, so they should not have their feet something like this. Okay, so they should have their feet properly placed on the floor. So either you can sit on a chair and table which is made for the child, or what you can do is sit on the ground excuse me, or else what you can do is sit on the ground and make a table or take a writing pad on their lap and then write. Okay, so these are 2 alternatives, but I would still prefer for a child and table chair and table for the child. Okay, so that helps in correct body posture. Second point in this is a correct pencil grip. So whatever writing implement that you are using, the child should have a correct pencil grip which looks something like this. Okay, now it can vary from child to child depending on how developed their fine motor skills are. Okay, so usually it should look like this, like 75% of the pencil grip of children should look like this. Okay, even in adults we see that we write like this. Now sometimes the child needs support of 3 fingers, which is called a tripod grip, or sometimes I have seen many children write like this. Okay, so this is the most underdeveloped fine motor skill situation, because the child has not developed their finger muscles. They are not able to hold the writing implement correctly, and hence they have to take support of their complete wrist and then the thumb, right? So instead of encouraging this or any different kind of the pencil grip, try to encourage to hold it correctly. It can be difficult at times, and you will have to keep on repeatedly reminding them of the correct pencil grip. And the third is the body and paper position. Okay, so as I said, the paper should be in front of us. Maybe this is like the straight paper. Okay, so we have to give them a little bit of tilt for them to comfortably write from left to right. Okay, so the paper should move and not the hand. Keep this tip in mind. Whenever you're doing any writing work, encourage the child to move the notebook or the paper instead of the hand. Okay, so keep the hand in the same position, keep your grip in the similar position, and just move your paper or a notebook, whatever you're using to write on. Okay, So this is a pro tip that you must all remember and teach and encourage your children to do that. Now the second major tip here is start with small. See, if your child is completely disliking the writing activity, what you can do is start with small, just 5 minutes of writing work. So 5 minutes of writing work can be simply matching objects or matching similar pictures or matching alphabet, matching numbers, whatever. Or it can start with like tracing a couple of letters or a couple of lines in a notebook. Okay, so start with small and keep consistent at it. Okay, so for the first week just do 5 minutes, then the next week you can gradually increase another 5 minutes, so the second week you are doing for 10 minutes. Okay, so go slow, go at the pace of your child's learning ability, and then gradually increase the time, maybe by 5 minutes. Okay, and at the time when the child is at the stage that he can comfortably write, when you have ruled out all the possible reasons for disliking the writing activity, the child must be able to write a complete page or 2 pages at one sitting. Okay, so basically when the child reaches at the age of 5.5, he should be able to complete 1 to 2 pages of writing work in one sitting, which will approximately take for the child around 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, depending on child's speed. So the second tip is start small but keep consistent at it. And now the third major tip here is include activities which will help them build their fine motor skills, visual perceptual skills, spatial awareness skills, and the dexterity. Okay, so I have a couple of activities listed down. So to increase their fine motor skills abilities, what you can do is ask the child to manipulate Play-Doh. Okay, so we all know Play-Doh and how fun it is for children to play with that. So you can ask the child to take a portion out of the big block of Play-Doh, and roll it into balls, then roll it into a snake, then cut those pieces with a kitchen knife, not the butter knife, sorry, not the kitchen knife, the butter knife, or even sometimes the knives come with the Play-Doh kits. So if you have that, ask them to cut into equal portions. This helps them in spatial awareness, that is understanding the spacing, visually seeing it. Okay, and you can teach the child to manipulate Play-Doh in certain ways. So if you just go on Google and see the Play-Doh activities, you will get tons of ideas for that. So this will help them build their fine motor skills. Now the second is visual perception. Now for visual perception, what you can do is you can do activities based on similar and differences. Okay, so tell me 2 similar things in these 2 images, and then you can tell me how these 2 images are different from each other. So this helps them to visually see and to visually recognize the similarities as well as the differences. Now some moms have said that their children are getting confused into B and D letters. Okay, or similarly with 9 and 6 numbers. Okay, so the reason is they have done less of visual perception activities. Now these activities help them to understand the similarities between 2 things or 2 objects or 2 letters, 2 numbers, and then also the differences between them. Okay, now B and P or B and D looks quite the same, but the only difference is B has it to the right, the curve is to the right, and D has it to the left. So this will happen in visual perception activities. Now the next one is spatial awareness activities. Now for that you can use drawing, and you can ask the child to draw on the certain part of that page. Okay, so maybe you can ask the child to draw an image of an ice cream on the left top hand corner, or to draw an image of a house on the right bottom corner. Okay, so this will give them where the spaces are located, and they will be aware of them when they actually start writing in a notebook. And this can also be done in a hands-on way using objects to create spatial activities. So if you have any kind of manipulatives to show, what you can do is create a pattern with those 3 to 5 objects, and after that ask the child to replicate the pattern. Okay, so if you have 3 objects and you have kept them in a certain order, or if you have kept them 2 above and 1 below, whatever the pattern that you have created, even you can use blocks for that, you can ask the child to replicate the same pattern using the same manipulatives. So this will really help in spatial awareness and to understand the spaces in between the letters, in between the numbers, words, etc. Okay, and the fourth one here is dexterity. Okay, so use variety of writing implements and play with the pressure. Now what is dexterity? Dexterity usually means the skill that you can do with your hand, and it has to be done flawless. Okay, so no extra effort is required or no extra input is required from you, but whatever you can do flawlessly with your hand, with your writing implement, is called dexterity. Okay, so how it helps the child? So if the child is able to do the writing work in its dexterity, that means the child is not taking any unnecessary pressure to do the writing work. The child has a good grip, the pencil grip, and the child has a good posture. Okay, so for this what you can do is you can use variety of writing implements like crayons. If you're starting out just like at the age of 3, you can use multiple thicknesses of crayons. So we have those finger ones, I don't remember the correct name, but the finger ones, then we have the ball ones, we have thick crayons, thin crayons. Give them variety whenever you're doing the practice. After the crayon stage is over, you can do the markers. You can use sketch pens, you can use thick markers, thin markers, those chiseled markers. After that you can also use paint brushes of different sizes to practice the writing. You can use color pencils. Again, you can use graphite pencils. So graphite pencils are usually thick, which will help them to understand the thin and thick strokes that they draw with the same pencil. Okay, so one writing implement can be used in variety of ways, and it can be used to understand how much pressure is required to create a thick line and how much less of a pressure is required to create a thin line using the same writing implement. Okay, usually don't start writing directly with pencil. Okay, so these are a couple of steps that you have to take before doing it with pencil. Now let's move on to the pro tips. So the first one is rewarding and punishing. For either doing or not doing the writing work is a complete bad idea. Okay, so as a parent I can tell you that rewarding with some chocolates or cake or anything or a toy, rewarding is not a good idea to do with the children, and even punishing for not doing their work is also not a good idea. First, as a parent, try to understand and identify if there's any underlying reason for the child's behavior. Okay, so if the child is not taking interest in writing, that means it doesn't necessarily mean that the child is being naughty, but it can also have couple of reasons for that the child is struggling and hence not showing any interest in the writing. So figure out those reasons, correct those reasons, and then maybe the child will start taking interest gradually. And the second pro tip here is lowering the expectations as a parent. Okay, so lowering the expectations first comes from comparison. So don't ever compare your two children or even children with your friends or neighbors or anyone from their school. Okay, no two children are similar, and lower your expectations. Like at the age of 3, they are not going to be able to write completely in 4 lines. They are not going to be able to contain their writing in those 4 lines. They will not be able to color in the picture. Okay, so these are some expectations that we have set onto them, and then maybe based on this we reward or punish them. Okay, so that is completely no. Don't do that at all. Okay, rewarding and punishing is a bad idea, as well as keeping high expectations and keeping overly rated expectations. Okay, so generally sometimes even school play a role in this, but generally as a parent you have to keep on motivating them, even if they have done something wrong, or even if they have done something which is below the expectation line or below the mark line that the school has set, or that anyone, or even sometimes the child gets frustrated that they have not colored in perfectly or their handwriting is not perfect. Okay, so tell the child that it's okay, this is a learning process and we are learning in this process. So day by day your handwriting will improve, day by day your skills will improve. So just be with the child and motivate the child instead of giving or throwing our expectations on them. Okay, so these are the 2 pro tips that I am sure that you have to keep in mind. I have done those mistakes myself, but learning from those mistakes, I wanted to share that here in this video. Okay, and keep the 4 reasons in mind and do the correct measures to correct those reasons, and in no time your children will start taking interest in your handwriting practice work. And if you have any questions, you can always message me on any of my social platforms, on Facebook, on Instagram, or you can even email me at divyanka@ourjourneyathome.com, and I would be happy to help you in your child's learning journey. So take care guys, that's it for today from me, and if you have any questions, as I said, you can reach out to me on any of these platforms. Take care, bye bye.